Thank you, Mr Speaker. And the Prime Minister, I know, understands the frustration from those most at risk when they see a report like that and they know action is needed. And action is needed now, not in a few weeks or months. So can I ask the Prime Minister to complete... Well, perhaps the Prime Minister will indicate whether that's all of the action or whether there's more action. This is a serious issue. We can make progress together. But it is important that it's done swiftly for those most at risk. Mr Speaker, I want to turn to the overall numbers of those that have tragically died from COVID-19, because those overall numbers haunt us. Since last Prime Minister's questions, the government's daily total figure for those that have died from coronavirus has gone past 40,000. The ONS figure, which records cases where coronavirus is on the death certificate, stands at just over 50,000, and the number of excess deaths, which is an awful phrase, stands at over 63,000. These are amongst the highest numbers anywhere in the world. Last week, the Prime Minister said he was proud of the government's record. But there's no pride in those figures, is there?
Mr Speaker, let me just say that on the death figures for this country, we mourn everyone, and we grieve for them and for their relatives and their friends. But I must also tell him, and he's raised this point repeatedly across the dispatch box, the best scientific evidence and advice is that we must wait until the epidemic has been through its whole cycle in order to draw the relevant international comparisons. And that, I'm afraid, I simply must repeat that point to him. And as for what this country did to fight the epidemic, I must say I strongly disagree with the way he characterises it. I think it was an astonishing achievement of the NHS to build the Nightingale hospitals. I think it was an astonishing thing that this country came together to drive down, to follow the social distancing rules, in spite of all the doubt that was cast on the advice, to follow those rules, to get the number of deaths down, to get the epidemic under control in the way that we have. And this government has announced a plan on May the 11th to get our country back onto its feet, and that is what we are going to do. We have a plan, we're following it, and we're going to stick to it.
Keir Starmer.
Mr Speaker, it just doesn't wash to say that we can't compare these figures to other countries. Everybody can see those figures and see the disparity, and we need to learn from those other countries. What did they do more quickly than us? What did they do differently to us? Because we can learn those lessons and ensure that the numbers come down. And it's little solace to the families that have lost someone to simply be told this is too early to compare and to learn from other countries. And of course there will be long-term consequences as a result of the government.